right, everybody. So it is now 4 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I still see some people are popping into the session, but we can go ahead and get started. I know a lot of you are anxious and already on your summer break, and some still just see it off in the distance. So let's go ahead and get going here. So for those of you that are not familiar with Maker Maven, I'd like to introduce myself along with Brianna Kua. So Brianna is our Director of Marketing and Brand Communications. So anything you see digitally, if you see our marketing, our newsletters, our social media, that is Brianna. She does some wonderful things and gets all of our content direct to you. So you see those great STEM challenges on our social media or in our newsletters, and you're using them with your students. We can thank Brianna for all that hard work. My name is Matt Garcia. I am the co-owner of Maker Maven, along with my wife, Jamie, who you might see popping in and out of the chat here, and some of you may be familiar with her already. I want to just kind of go over a few little housekeeping rules before we get started. So as you've noticed, you do not have your video or speaking capabilities because we are in a webinar format, but we highly, highly encourage you to use the chat throughout the entire webinar. So we want you to be active and engaged. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. If you have comments, if you're using something, let us know. Tell if it's cool, if what your students are doing, anything. Go ahead and pop it in the chat. Just make sure the little caret there under the to section is listed to all panelists and attendees. So we want to be able to get a good conversation going with all of us during this presentation. And also, if you are on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, give us a like and a follow at Maker_Maven. We want you to tweet, Facebook, pin it, whatever you need to do on social media throughout this webinar, so we can spread the word and we can get other people in here. Just keep learning more with Maker Maven and our select partners. Typically, this is how we will do our winners for our giveaways or our drawings. But lucky for everybody in attendance today, we're not actually choosing winners today. Just for being on this webinar live, you are going to get a free Strawbees STEAM Starter Set. So Bree is going to go ahead and pop a link in the chat. It is a Google form, so go ahead and make sure you fill that out with all of the information. So we have your shipping info, so we can make sure we get you your Strawbees kit as soon as possible. So you can use all that knowledge you're going to learn today with your brand new free kit and get going right away. So with all that being said, I'd like to introduce Andreas. He's the account manager for Strawbees, who we work with directly as Maker Maven. And again, follow Strawbees on their social medias at Strawbees as well. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Andreas, and we can get going here. Let me go ahead and stop my share, and
perfect.
It's all yours.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you for us being part of this webinar with you guys. So I'm just going to share my screen first here. There we go. Okay. So thank you everyone for being part of this. This webinar will be about how to engage more students into STEAM. But before I going into that and start with that, I just like to explain a little bit about Strawbees. So Strawbees is a hands-on tool for KH students, for them to explore more and learn how construction building, mechanical movement, and coding are integrating with each other. And how, for example, like this, how do the barriers in a public parking garage work, and how do you keep count of the traffic that are passing through this? These are typical activities that students can simulate by building and coding this parking garage entrance, for example. So Strawbees was started out from a Kickstarter campaign that went really well in 2014 by Erik Torstensson. He is the inventor of Strawbees, and he graduated as a mechanical engineer with a focus on sustainability, and he wants to bring affordable maker tools into the classroom by using the plastic cutoff from industrial production. And he created this one, the Strawbees connector first, like this. And that was meant to be used with straws and other things like cardboard. And today we have complete STEAM product lineups with coding solution to schools with curriculum-aligned lessons. And this is the STEAM starter that you guys received. I will explain a little bit more about that in the end. So, short about me. I am the key account manager, as Matt said, for the US and European market. I have been working here now at Strawbees for 2 years. And I live in Gothenburg in Sweden, where we also have our headquarters. So today I will talk a little bit how to engage more students into STEAM. And there are these 3 things I would like to talk about. So first, making sure that we have enough material for every student, and that we use tools that build creativity and learning confidence. And lastly, the importance of speed. So we can take the first one, that we're making sure that we have enough material for every student. We don't want to limit the experience for the students by having too little material for each one. Imagine if you're like super thrilled to get started with solving a problem, for example, constructing and coding a robot, and you have this idea in your head on how you're going to approach the situation. But you need to wait for someone else to finish their idea first. Or imagine that you are in this process of creating and you have entered your flow stage where you're so into what you're doing and you have started to ask questions for yourself like, what happens if I do this? Or what happens if I turn that? And so on. And you need to let that go because someone else is waiting for you to finish. And another aspect to this is to think about that is we all are different. We all have different approach to solve problems, right? Some, they just jump into it and they start testing immediately. Others, they take their time and go slowly forward. And students that are jumping into testing can take up a lot of the room and the material without really thinking about the ones that need this time to adjust. So therefore, we need to make sure that we have enough material for all students in the classroom. And so we can meet all of their students' needs, of course. The second thing is that we need to use tools that build this creativity and learning confidence. And what I mean with this is that confidence, that is something that we learn. We learn it by testing. We learn it by repeating. And this helps us build creativity. So if I would start play tennis, for example, and I would get better at it the more I test, of course, or practice, this would give me more confidence and I can start being more creative in my game, right? And the lack of confidence so the lack of this confidence, it often comes from the mindset that you can fail. And even if we have this embrace failure culture and have this learn from your mistakes attitude, the students, they do not always think the same. It's a process to learn confidence and it takes time. So how can we help the students to learn confidence and build creativity? We give them the tools that enable them to do more than just complete assignments. So for example, a car where the goal is to, or like this, the goal for this car that we are coding is to move within a certain path, forward, backward, or so on. And that is that. We have a hard time to telling the students, or the students have a hard time, exploring by themselves. But what is happening if I do this, or what happening is if I do that? These are the questions that we want the students to ask themselves. And it will be much harder if we don't have the right STEAM tools. And student-driven learning, that is often comes after having a completed assignment. And then the student can explore more by themselves or in groups on how to improve this project. So to make student-driven learning happen in a school environment that lacks the ingredient of time, you need to have a tool that you can do fast prototyping with. A tool that lets the students check the boxes in the curriculum, but move past that and explore more by themselves. We also need to have in mind that the students are different, they learn differently, they have a different interest. So therefore, we of course need to have a tool that are different or can be different. Some, they want to build a crane, for example. Others, a bridge, a mechanical arm, a blinking star, or, for example, this little guy here, a baby robot. I will play it one more time. You see it. And lastly, about speed and the importance of speed. Or before I go over to the speed point, I want to say something that I learned from a Codejoy, Kelsey from Codejoy. So I listened to this webinar with her, and she talked about getting more girls into tech and why it can be hard because of the stereotypes. She gave me an example of the War Robots, the TV show, as something that we often can associate to when talking about robots, right? And on these shows, we often see that it is overrepresenting males, and they are the ones that are hosting the shows, and they are the builders, and we see dads together with their sons in the audience. And even if this is not something that we are thinking about directly, it is sending a message to girls who are thinking about building robots, and they associate with something that is for boys. So lastly here, the importance of speed. So speed is important to have in mind when to engage more students into STEM. We all know that time is not something that we have an overflow in the schools, and time spent looking for the right part instead of the next solution, that takes energy, enthusiasm, and learning from the students. You don't want to go around looking for a specific part or take time looking at an instruction book on what piece that will come next. We want the student to test for themselves and see if their solution will work. And hopefully it will not the first time, so that they can learn from this experience. We are also seeing that the time from the thinking process to start actually prototyping has a great impact on how the students dare to test new ideas and dare to expose themselves to failure. They dare to make mistakes because the thought to prototyping is so narrow, so it's easy to give it a try again. And so, why should we learn with Strawbees? We want to give every child the opportunity to become inventors so that they can solve future problems. And how? By creating teacher-friendly STEAM and coding lessons and providing high student engagement for grades K-8. This is our approach to this. So what do we really mean by teaching teacher-friendly? Is that we want to give them an easy and friendly introduction to building and coding as possible. We want to help out the teachers as much as possible so that they can do what they are best at, educating, of course. And we know that learning and teaching programming has been so frustrating for so many teachers. They have spent so much time, like on the free time, on learning how to code and so on. And what we want to do is help them out as much as possible. So we are doing this by creating curriculum-aligned lessons, lessons that can be modifiably easy and transferred to Google Classroom and so on. And we are always thinking about how we can improve the experience for the teachers, because we know that that will affect the students directly. So for example, recently we upgraded our STEAM School Kit. That is our most popular product with a built-in storage solution now. So it will be much easier to distribute and organizing back together in the classroom. This gives, of course, more learning time for the students and less time cleaning. The second thing is that high student engagement. So we are focusing quite a lot on that. And why are we focusing so much on high student engagement? That is because we know that this leads to high learning outcomes. So how do we manage to create student engagement? First, we make sure that they have fun building and coding with Strawbees. They have fun because they can build these big constructions because the system is very lightweight. They can do fast prototyping. They can be creative and create their own solutions. And something that we often saying is that in a classroom of 30 students that are using Strawbees to solve a problem, we'll end up with 30 unique solutions. The second thing that we are actually focusing quite a lot on is that we are having few unique pieces, and that with these few unique pieces, you can build like simple to very advanced constructions. So when the students have finished their assignments, they can start to explore more with what they have. Start, what can I do with this to make it even better, and so on and so on. I would like to show you guys a live demonstration. So I need to stop presenting like that. I think you can see me right. So I will show you something that you can do with the STEAM Starter Kit. So if you add microbit to it, of course, but what I have in front of me here is a crane that I built by myself. I can see if am I pinned so everyone can see me. Pin. Yes, perfect. Perfect. So I have a crane here that is quite easy to build. It's straightforward what has happened here. On the back, I have a microbit. And for you who are not familiar with microbit, it's like a mini computer or a mini chip that you're using to program with. It's very popular in Europe, and it's starting to grow rapidly in the US now as well. So what we have done is that we have created this add-on to the microbit and Strawbees, so it's easy to just use them both together, right? And this crane here, I will turn this on like that and making sure that you see. And then I have a second microbit that I've attached to this arm device. So this is so fun when the students are the one that have built this crane by themselves, and then they start jumping into the coding part of it. And what I usually doing with this crane is that, or when I am having a workshop, for example, is that I take this crane and I put it in front of the table in front of me. And then, of course, this was before COVID and everything, but I put this one in front of me, and then I let the student come up and start exploring how it looks like. So they start looking around, they start counting the pieces, how many blue ones do I need, how many of the orange one, and so on and so on. And then they start doing reverse engineering with this prototype, like Strawbees prototype already. So they take this one and start testing out by themselves. We do, of course, have on our Strawbees learning platform that is free for teachers to use, and students, of course, instructions on how to build this crane and so on. But I also like to, just show it and let the student do reverse engineering of it. And the joy to see on the eyes when the students have built this one and then, finish coding it. And it takes approximately 20 minutes to build it, and maybe 40 minutes to start to code it and so on. Then second thing that I would like to show is Oh, I forgot to actually show you something. The thing I said that you can build the very big items. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the microbit from the crane. And I'm attaching it to a bigger crane here. Let's see. Turn that one on. Perfect. Let's hope this one works. Of course not. No, it works. So the same thing, the same code is in both of the devices. I haven't changed the code or anything, only the construction itself. Like that. I need this in my life, don't we? The other thing that I like to do is, this is a Sierpinski pyramid, and this is a small scale, scaled one using the orange pipes. So what we often doing when we're having workshop with a larger classroom, it can be like a 2 classroom at once, or 2 classes. We take the students and we make groups of 3 or 4, and in these small groups, they building this pyramid, like a small pyramid by themselves, and then in that group they are building a bigger pyramid together. So they start out doing, you know, only one, and then this group together is building a combined one, and then in the end the whole class is joining forces and they build a bigger one. So this can be very, very big. I can show you how. Oops. Mic drop. Only by using the blue ones. This is a small. So imagine if a classroom or students of maybe 50 or 40 are building these ones. They can build this one on top of each other, and you know they can go into this structure. Let's see. And then that is also like an activity on our platform, on our learning platform. We have this mechanical arms. So for you that are interested in building something with this STEAM Starter Kit that you receive, this is a great to get started, to just explore the system itself. And I actually have a little bit of a surprise today. Our inventor, Erik Torstensson, we gave him a challenge to build a Mars lander. So what he came up with is that this Mars lander that is going to look like the Mars lander that just landed. So he created this one, and the idea is that you can put a parachute on this one. And we have even tried to put an egg in this basket and see how far we can drop it. And this is something that you can do with the STEAM Starter. So you can build this one with the STEAM Starter, and then you just connect like this, like a parachute, and then you can make it, yeah, go down. Let's see. Fun, right? Yep, now I'm going to share my screen again, because I want to show you something that a student actually did the first time I had an live, oh, I need to go down. I had a live workshop. It was very, very fun, actually. So this was my first workshop that I had in at Strawbees in Sweden. And so what we often are doing is that we are making the students create small robots, and they can do like a robot racers. And then we just, you know, when they finish that, you know, explore by themselves. And something that we like to do is that instead of maybe competing by race and so on, is that they are building a robot, and afterwards they are telling a little bit of a story about their robot and so on, instead of just only competing. So I showed this to the the team back at the office after I attended this workshop, and they was just like, "What is happening? I've never seen anything being built like this before, and actually using the head as a force going back and forward, so that like moving the robot even further on. That's super nice." Then I would like to show you something else that you can do with Strawbees, or be a little bit more creative if you like. We were challenged to build a flying object, and of course we needed to do some sort of testing before we managed it to fly. But this is the first attempt that you will see what will happen. Yeah, not that good. Then in the end, we actually managed. I can take it. No. But it was super fun to do these flying objects because the system itself is so lightweighted, so you can actually do things like this. And then this is the last thing that I will show today. It's a little bit of a sneak peek into what Erik Torstensson is doing right now. He has a YouTube channel, or yeah, it's like a YouTube channel where he's doing ridiculous inventions. And this is something that will come up next. So this one is actually, of course, built with Strawbees constructor system, and then we are using microbits to control it. So Erik is actually using his both hands and moving his arms up and down to control this one. And this is, of course, if you want to be, this is when you can explore the system like high limits. That's it. Yeah, that was the thing that I wanted to show you today. And thank you everyone for listening in. I hope that you get a little bit inspired. And Matt, I let you take it from here, I guess.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Kind of a lot to take in right there. I think everybody in the chat seems to be pretty excited at this point. See a lot of great feedback in there. I did put in the chat earlier that if anybody has any questions, you can click the virtual raise your hand there. I'll turn on your mic so you can ask, or if you would just like to pop it in the chat, that's fine as well. Let's get all your questions answered while we have Andreas here with us.
Definitely.
All right, so Karen is asking, Matt, will Maker Maven have microbits available to order to add to our Strawbees sets? Yes, we will. So we have some orders coming in from Strawbees here soon. So once we are able to get those in stock, we will start putting out the announcements on our social medias and our newsletter that they will be available for you soon. All right. Karen also asked, do students have to code the microbits, or are they simply motion sensors?
No, they will need to code it, and it's the same from Scratch coding. You're using block coding. It's quite easy, and microbit, they are super good at doing this small tutorials and so on. So it's very easy to get started with the microbit.
Perfect. All right, Susan has a question. I'm going to turn your mic on here really quick, Susan.
Hello, actually, I have a couple questions. First was, I noticed on the website the Strawbees are labeled for 6 and up, but I use them with 5-year-olds all the time and they love them. Is there a reason they're marked for 6 and up or first grade and up?
Yeah, the reason is that we know that this for example, I have like this, and then I have a connector. This, when you just attach like this, can be hard for some. So therefore we needed to put like from 6 and up, but we know that it can be used for 5 years old, and we even seen 4 years old doing it as well. But that is the tricky thing, is that doing like these small I don't really know what to call it in English, but precisements, or if you want to turn in like a connector into another connector like this, and it can be a little bit hard to push it in, and then you get this motion like this. But of course 5 years old can absolutely use it.
Okay, and then my other question, because my kids, they love Strawbees. They're actually building with them today too. But my other question is the coding thing. I know that one says 8 and up. My kids are already doing block coding with like dash and dot.
Yeah.
So if they can do block coding on that, would they be able to do the block coding with these microbits?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you.
No worries.
Great questions. Thank you very much, Susan. All right, Manta, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, asks, hello, Andreas, could you point me to some examples of Strawbees being used with Makey?
Yeah, definitely. I think that on our website, we have like a list of different webinars, and we have a webinar that we actually did with Makey. It's very compatible actually with Makey. So check that out. It's on our website, strawbees.com, and then you will find like webinars and so on. So it's already recorded, but we don't have anything that is like as neat as this activity right now, but we're working on it.
Perfect, thank you. All right, Linda Bishop is asking, is the coding program online? And I can answer that, or you can. So
no, you answer that, Matt.
Okay, yes, so it is online. So it is browser based, so you do not need to download any software. So whatever your students are using, they can use the is it code.strawbees.com? Is that correct?
Yeah, that is actually for the QuirkBot. I haven't showed that much thing about the QuirkBot, but we have like 2 different lineups. QuirkBot is like our own microbit, but so that you can use as well. You will find it for you on Maven's website as well. And the the microbit is by itself. And then when you're coding, you're actually using make code. That is something that Microsoft has built, like the software.
Perfect, thank you. All right, Kristen is saying, I am super excited to try Strawbees. How do you recommend a teacher purchase if they have multiple classes in a given grade level? I teach 90 to 125 students in a given grade, and all need to do the same thing.
Yep, perfect, because that is one of our strengths actually. Make sure that you have this enough material, but the STEAM school kit, it is meant for 30 students. And if you want to use microbit with that as well, you need 2 of our robotic invention for the microbit 10 packs. It's a very long name, but it's basically that you receive 10 of these things here. That's making it suitable for the system. So you get 10 of these with servo motors and everything.
Very good. All right, does anybody else have questions? So let's see, Cynthia is asking, are the connectors that held the microbit included in the kits, or are those parts sold separately?
No, they are included. So you mean probably this yellow thing here. So it's included in the system. So you have everything needed, and it's even built like this. Okay, let's see if so this one is included, and you can also just use the microbit itself if you want to attach it. So we did that design, so it's easier for the teachers and students to use it as much as possible.
Very good. Let's see. All right, we see some comments here. Let's see, who else has a question? Mamta is asking, can you only buy a microbit and the case that is compatible with Strawbees? So I'm assuming that they're asking if they already have the Strawbees, can they just purchase the microbit and the connecting piece separately?
Yeah, so that was, we actually did it that way. we know that a lot of people already have Strawbees. So we have like the STEAM Starter Kit that you will receive. This one doesn't have any coding part in it. Then if you want to add coding to it, you need to like purchase the separate coding to it. So for the ones that already have Strawbees construction system, they can just go with the add-on solutions.
All right. And Kathy is asking, just wondering, what time is it in Sweden?
It's when I started, it was 11 p.m. So it's quite late here, but I enjoy it very much. I'm a night owl, so it doesn't matter for me.
Perfect. Yeah, so you seem pretty energetic for it being fairly late. All right. And Kristen also asking, do you ever do virtual workshops for students? I was thinking it would be helpful to observe you modeling how to teach the lesson to students.
Yeah, so we are actually working on be able to provide that now when everyone is so into this virtual world. We don't have it set up 100% completely yet, but you know, if you send us an email or, you know, Matt is connecting us together, we can make things like that, like sort that things out. So yeah, we can definitely do it, but we don't have like a structured way on doing it right now. That is something that we're working on. But just send us an email.
All right, it looks like Gina was asking about Strawbees YouTube channel, and I see Brianna has already linked that in the chat for you.
Perfect.
Yvonne is asking, there was an additional attachment on the crane. She wants to know what that was.
Yeah, it's actually what you call them, extension. I think that not extension, making the cable. Not think you guys see it. You mean this thing or on the small crane? Because you will actually receive this thing here, making that you can do like the servo motor even longer. Put that down there. Or if you meant the servo motor itself. So this servo motor here is also included in the kits. And this is making the movement, of course.
Perfect. Okay, and I apologize if I've missed any questions here. You still have a chance to raise your hand if you'd like to verbally ask your question. But man, y'all have been so great in the chat. It's just honestly been hard for me to keep up and keep tabs on all of your questions. So I appreciate all of you wonderful educators being in there today. All right, I just see, do you plan to have other kind of motions apart from the servo motor, like a motion sensor, for instance?
Yeah, so actually in the inputs that you give to the microbit has this different things like motion or radio functions that I did. The output is still the servo motor when it comes to the moving part, but on this extension that we have created, you actually have two LED lights so that you can code different colors. So that's kind of neat. And of course, we are always looking to, you know, making it like improving the products all the time.
All right, thank you. And Paige just submitted a question. Which Strawbees kit works with the Makey?
All of them, basically. So all of the kits are just at different levels. So the STEAM Starter is for 1 to 2 users to explore. It is for students that are working from home and so on. And then the STEAM School Kit, the bigger version, it's for a classroom setup, more or less. All of these can be used with Makey.
All right, perfect. All right, and I think this will be the last question we're going to take, so we can move on. So Kristen is asking, can the Strawbees be easily cleaned after student use? I do not own any yet, and know that will be a question that I will be asked before purchasing.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually quite fun because we don't have that label out yet, but you can put them in a dishwasher, no problem, and there you can clean them. Easy, really easy. But you can also boil them. So if you put all the material and then you can boil them, it will not damage from that. Just boil them and then it's up. Much easier and very clean as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you everybody for all of those great questions. Yeah, Jacqueline says she just sprayed with Lysol. That would work as well.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Andreas. That was awesome. Tons of great information. I know you got everybody else in here pretty psyched up. So that's really cool. We're so happy that you're able to join us. So again, everybody, help me in thanking Andreas for joining us today. And don't forget, I know some of you popped in a little bit late and might have missed it. If you wouldn't mind popping in the link for the Google form one more time, just for being in attendance for this live webinar, you will be receiving a free brand new STEAM starter set. So make sure you fill out that Google form so we have your contact information and your shipping information, and we will make sure to get those kits out to you as soon as possible. So you can take all the things that you learned from Andreas today and start putting them to use and making plans for your students, whether you're doing it over the summer, family nights over the summer camp, or if you're just looking for some new great ideas to jump in with for next fall. So make sure you fill those out as soon as you can. All right. Yes, thank you. And so, just a few last minute takeaways from Strawbees. They're fantastic for creative learning. There's tons and tons of resources for teachers, and physical computing with Strawbees is unmatched. It's phenomenal. It truly is. I put it in the chat earlier. Truly is a K-12 tool. So no matter your students' levels, you can use Strawbees in some aspect across curricular lines as well. And if you are looking to purchase Strawbees or you need help adding to your STEAM space, maker space, Fab Lab, whatever you're calling your space, where you're allowing your students to build and create and get hands-on with technology or other STEM tools, please contact us. You can always reach us at 877-MAKER75, Monday through Friday. I believe it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can shoot us an email at orders@makermaven.net, or you can visit our shop page and you could create your own quotes by going to makermaven.net. If you would like to create your own quote, just build your cart as you would with any other online shopping. And when you get to the checkout screen, there's a nice little request a quote button there, and we can get that going for you. And we always have our free resources. So we have our STEM challenges that we release bi-monthly, I believe, or twice a month. Either on our newsletter, on our social media. So if you have not done it throughout this presentation or before, please make sure you follow us on all social media. That's @maker_Maven. Make sure you follow Strawbees @Strawbees. And also you can find the recordings of all of our previous webinars on our YouTube channel as well. And speaking of our webinars, we are lucky enough to have Andreas back for another webinar here in a couple of weeks, or maybe not even a couple of weeks. I believe it's next week on June 10th. So it will be covering much of the same stuff that we went over today. So if you have any friends, coworkers that were not able to make it, highly encourage them to sign up, because we will still be giving away more of these STEAM starter sets. So make sure you spread the word. Now, unfortunately, if you join this one, you will not be eligible to receive a second free STEAM starter set. But if you would like to join us again, you're always more than welcome. So please share the word, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.